bench. Just started tearing it apart. Figured I'd go live while I don't have any interruptions right here. Show you what I'm looking at. I actually had the shaft in stock here, so it worked out pretty good. I'm able to get this switched out. There was a couple pieces. These two little sleeves, I don't know if you can see those right there. They were stuck on the old shaft, and it's about 20 bucks for those parts. And of course, several days waiting for the parts to show up. So I did what I could and got them off the old shaft. I'll walk you through that really quick, and then I'll show you how I put this back together, and we'll go from there. So let me get you on the tripod, and I'll show you what's going on. Might have some interruptions here in a little bit. Got some customers that are supposed to be dropping by with some equipment, but I will jump off when I need to and come right back. So here we go. So those of you that have watched my channel before know pole saws are one of my least favorite things to deal with, just because they're so long, big, and cumbersome, and they're sort of a pain to do. I have built this bench so that way I can work on pole saws. It's just long enough to get everything on here, including the power head. So I intentionally made this bench just for that specific purpose. So the reason why we're replacing the shaft, the tip right here broke off in the clutch drum. I don't know if you can see it, I get it to focus. There we go. It snapped off in the clutch drum, so the saw was not working. The clutch obviously was spinning with this in it, but it was not turning the shaft, so it was not turning the power head, the gear head on there to run the chainsaw. So I did happen to have the assembly here. It's gonna be this piece, which has everything from this end, the whole shaft, all the way up to this end right here. So that is all one continuous piece, and the tip is what broke off the last one. So I'm gonna attempt to get this back together off memory without having to use the diagrams, and see if we can get this put back together. So what I've got going on here, there's the old one right there. I ended up taking a hacksaw and cutting off the tip there, taking it to a vise, because right about here is where this coupling goes on there. I got to remount this on the new one, but I cut it off so that way I could get to it. And then I actually drilled out, went to the top here and drilled out. Since this is aluminum, it drills really easy. And I got that out to make the metal thinner. Then I kept pushing on it. So if you notice how these go together, they just interlock like that. I took a flathead screwdriver, stuck it there, hammered till that popped off. The metal was thin inside, so I was able to pop it out. But that is how I got that off without damaging it, and using my trusty hacksaw to do it. So sometimes you have to use stuff like this, unfortunately, to get stuff fixed. Like I said, $20 in parts right there. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense if I can salvage them. Just took about 5 minutes to get them off. And I wanted this put back together today and off my bench, because I do not like stuff sitting around. This has a lot of parts and a lot of stuff that can be lost or put back together wrong. So if we can get it back together today, plus it makes the customer really happy if we can get stuff fixed the same day, because pretty much none of your shops around here will do that. You're lucky to get the stuff back the same week, even the same month. So when you can turn it around in the same day, customers are quite impressed. So what I'm gonna do is take this stuff off, and I'm gonna lay it out exactly how I take it off. This is the best way to do it. So if you're doing one of these projects and you're missing parts, I would not take any of this stuff apart unless you took some really good photos and videos of it, because otherwise you're going to confuse the hell out of yourself when you try to put it back together, and it's not going to work very well. All right, so now that we got that stuff off, let's just put everything right back how we got it. So I'm going to start on this end. Just one by one, pushing everything back down the line. That's what I do with most of my repairs. On more complicated stuff, I don't dig into it very far until I've got the parts. Then all I got to do is take it off one unit, put it on the next, and it works out pretty slick. That way you don't have to wonder, oh, which side goes where? How does this fit? How does that fit? Takes all the guesswork out of it. And then with this, I need to see where the placement of those pieces go. So since I cut this one off, I cut it off square with that piece. So I'm just gonna line that up right there. So you're gonna see right here, right where I cut it off. Make sure that I'm aligned down here. Got the ends where they need to be. Get that where it needs to be right there. So it's square with that. Then I'll push that over top and I'll secure that into place here. See if I can crimp these together, or I gotta do it a different way. I actually never had to do one of these before. Sounds like I got a customer, I got the phone ringing, but as soon as the customer comes in, I'm gonna jump off for a second and I'll be right back with you guys. But I'm just walking this around like that. It's getting a little tighter. Eventually we'll get it all the way on there. That's what secures that into place. Didn't work. So there's no instructions on how you put this stuff back together, unfortunately. So you got to get sort of creative on how you do it. I got to be careful with that aluminum pipe. You don't want to compress it and wreck it. So let's see if we can. All right. So this is for putting seals on saws and stuff. I'm using it to set that. How I did it was I got my pliers there and I just smash it down until it compresses. So that is my version of putting it on there. I don't know the correct way, but it is on there nonetheless in the right position. So we're good to go. Right length. just always an awful lot of stuff that you got to figure out how to do. Another section of spring. And these are just about as much fun as you can imagine working on. Not always the easiest remembering how this stuff goes. All right. So now the fun part, cramming this back into this end. And this is where this extra long bench comes in handy. Otherwise, you got to roll around on the floor to do this, and I do not care to do that anymore. Done it for a lot of years, and it does not sound fun. Now we gotta pack everything back in here, which is real lovely and fun, if you can imagine. Sort of cringe when a pole saw comes in. And they're super greasy too. Sorry to block your view. I just gotta get this on here. So what I'm attempting to do is get this sleeve, this last section on here, as it's trying to come out. Trying to see why we can't get that. It's a seat. get this on there for now. Take this other end off. It's probably gonna want to spring out here, but I gotta get this attached in order for that to slide down to here. It's not sitting in here. And of course, it wants to come back out. Like I said, if one of these come into your shop, just know that they're a huge royal pain in the ass to do. I would charge more for them if I could. I think it's a horrible design, personally. Like it wants to stick. That on there, let's tighten that one down. Try to get this power head back on here if we can. Here. Let's see if we can reestablish that connection. These are always a pain to line up to, regardless of what version you have. There we go. At least when they're dirty, you can see the dirt line where it's supposed to go on there. If they're clean, I just take a black marker and mark it off. So I got that there. Looks pretty good and level. Let's see if it extends. All right, it extends. Now let's see if it contracts. So that's good. And my last test is going to be the chain. So I'm going to rotate this chain, and I want to see the clutch drum move on this end. See if you guys look right there inside that housing. If you can see that clutch move, that means I got a connection all the way down here. And that is exactly what we want to see. Get my last bolt back in place, and I'll straighten this out. All right, and that is how we roll with that. So yeah, we got power head attached again. Pop this off. Power head's good. Saw the clutch drum spinning. Got the reattached handle, got the shaft reattached. Got everything aligned with the chainsaw head. That's all back in place. Everything's tightened down. Shaft replaced, no extra parts, which is always good. And that's what we want to see. So, like I said, these are a pain, especially if you've never messed with them before. I know when I started working on this stuff, I would have hours invested in trying to figure out how this stuff worked, how to get it back together. Organization is key on this stuff. Keeping all your parts in line with how they're supposed to go back together, because if you put one piece in the wrong position, it's going to make the whole thing messed up. So either take a very good video before, or when you're disassembling it, lay all your parts out. And I wouldn't do any of that, again, until I had all the new parts in stock, so you can transfer right away so everything's fresh in your mind. When you leave stuff on your bench or on the floor, it's going to get kicked around, so it's going to get lost. You definitely don't want that to happen with the pull saws, because they are a big pain to get back together. So make sure you're taking the time, like I did, to get it right. You can reuse that coupling like I showed you at the end there. Just bring out your hacksaw, bring out a drill, and take your time with it, and it'll come off, and then you can reassemble it on your new piece. So other than that, the instructions, they give you stuff with that. But of course, I'm not very good with instructions. I don't really read instructions, so I throw that stuff away. But this is a HT 103. That is the part number for the shaft if you guys need that. That is just that shaft assembly. It is not complete with the coupling on there. So know that if you're ordering that, there is a part number for that complete piece with that mounted on there. Otherwise, if you just need this and you want to reuse those bushings, I guess they call them, you can get them off. Just takes a little bit of work. So that's how we do it. So that's all I got for you guys right now. Appreciate you tuning in. Check out the 2 videos I dropped earlier today. Some of them might help you guys out a little bit with a few projects. So thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.